Trump had a plan to build the wall, right? So that was like a thing that was really big that he spoke a lot about. Did they start building the wall? Do you feel like the wall was going to be effective?
So looking at Trump's wall, again, 32 years of doing this. When I first came into the Border Patrol, there was very little infrastructure along the border. It was strands of barbed wire, if it was even up.
Right.
I remember being in a high-speed pursuit, and I'm driving down off the freeway. We get into the dirt, and we're driving through these ravines and stuff. And had it not been for another agent yelling out to me to stop, I would have driven right into Mexico.
Oh, really?
Because there was nothing to demarcate the U.S. and Mexico.
Wow.
So this is late 80s, early 90s.
So it was a different world then, kind of?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We were arresting anywhere from 1 million to 1.5 million people a year, and every night it was high-speed pursuits, foot chases. We were catching 1,000 people a night, and that's just in one little station.
Right.
I used to laugh because when I first joined the Border Patrol, I remember walking into a station, and there was somebody had a shirt for sale, and on the back of it was an agent laying face down with footprints on his back. I'm like, well, what does that have to do? And he's like, just get out in the field and you'll see. And sure as heck, you were just getting overrun every day. It was
really
crazy, absolutely crazy.
So almost like playing Red Rover or something, and they're just coming?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so people often, again, they think about the border as being this urban area that you can just drive right up to and patrol very easily. When you go out into the mountains and the deserts, you need access. And what building the wall did was it gave us access to certain locations. So looking at Trump's border wall, there was some new wall that was built, and then more importantly, there was replacement wall. And I often laugh because people are like, well, it's not wall, it's not new wall. Well, when you get a new pair of shoes, you don't call it a replacement pair of shoes. It's a new pair of shoes.
Right.
So we have new wall built. It was about, I think it was 450 miles of wall that was built.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a decent amount.
It's a decent amount. And the thing about this, too, is what the wall does is what we looked at and we analyzed in the Border Patrols, where can we put wall that effectively shapes the environment for us so that we can make, we deter people from coming into the U.S. And then more importantly, if they do elect to come into the U.S., where can we shape it so that it's advantageous to us to make an arrest?
Right. So the wall now, are they finishing the wall? Are they stopping the wall? Do they know?
No. So the when Biden came into his presidency, the new administration put a stop to all wall building.
Wow.
Which is very short-sighted. And I say it because of this. So in building the wall, it's not like they start at point A and then to B and then to C. What they did is it's A and B here and M and N over there, so that you have areas that are open. So, they'll go and they'll clear out existing fencing, or they'll grade for new wall, and then they're building in certain segments and building to finish the wall. So we've got, just in Arizona itself, there are probably about 300 gaps, some of which are as small as 50 feet, some as wide as a quarter mile,
right.
And other areas where the wall was built up to a point where you put a gate in, and you need gates to go back and forth because you have to do maintenance on the fencing and the walls and sometimes rescues, and I'll talk to you about that here shortly. So they didn't finish these gates. So now you've got 300 gaps in the wall, which means 300 vulnerabilities.
Wow.
300 places that smugglers can push people across. And one of the tools that smugglers use, and this really upset me. So when we had families and unaccompanied kids coming across, what these organizations would do is they would charter 3 to 6 buses. They drive them out to the desert because on the Mexican side, their freeway parallels the border. On the U.S. side, other than the cities, there's nothing on our side of the border. Nothing, anywhere from, I would say 30 to 80 miles before you hit any sort of infrastructure from the U.S.-Mexico border. So these smugglers, they'd charter these buses. They'd drive up 100 to 300 families and kids, and they drop them off in the desert and push them into the U.S., knowing that our technology was going to pick up this event, and then it would take us 24 to 40 hours because it's, again, in places, they were dropping off in places where we had very little access or infrastructure. So it would take us 24 to 40 hours to get 4x4 vehicles into these areas, load up the kids, load up the families, drive them to a place where we could then get a van or a bus and then drive them to a station. And so when this happens, and it's done strategically, again, this is about making money, right?
Right.
It's done strategically. So you drop this group off here, and then I've got to close operations for, in this particular location, I shut down a whole station, which is about 450 agents. And I dedicated all of those agents to getting these kids and these families out of the desert, because what's going to happen? The heat or the cold is going to kill them. And so when your manpower is dedicated to this, then you get segments of the border that are wide open. And what happens? They run drugs through there. They run criminals through there. So it's all about making money. It's a cat and mouse game.